fish nerd. A fish nerd. A fish nerd. Hey, what's up guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for joining me guys again. So today we're going to talk about what in the world does Jason feed 60 tanks? What are the different foods and stuff that I use? Well, I use a bunch of different things. First of all, I have a tremendous amount of mystery snails. I have probably 13 or 14 different types of Plecos. I have 13 or 14 different types of cories. I've got a buttload of guppies, and I've got some other random community fish. So I've got a lot of different things. A few little bit bigger fish that have to be fed something a little bit different. So let's go ahead and let's go over there to the food, and let me show you one at a time what I'm feeding. All right, so first of all, let's start with the shrimp tanks. So we've got 9 shrimp tanks, and the main thing that I feed the shrimp tanks is the Shrimp King 5-in-1. This actually has 5 different packets in it. Each one is something a little bit different. One's complete, protein, mineral, leaf mix, and snow pops. So I typically put, I usually mix them up, and I usually put a couple of sticks every other day. And then also, I'll show you a little bit later, but I also typically put probably 1 green bean every couple of days in there also. So that's the shrimp tanks. In the mornings when I feed, I typically feed twice a day. So in the mornings, here's what I use. So this is the flake food that I use the majority of. This is a flake food that I got from Scott at Fancy Tail Aquatics. He has this stuff on eBay if you guys are interested in it. My fish tend to love this stuff, so I buy it in these big bags. And then he also sells, this is like a bottom feeder mix. This one doesn't have a label on it. It's because I bought it because I'm the one that printed the labels. So this one didn't have a label on it yet. So I take this stuff and I mix it with the flake food. And so I typically just take just a normal leftover container. Like this is a container that I use to feed one of the lizards I have. And so I just take it and I put about 15% of the bottom feeder mix in there, and then I put the rest of it in as the flake food, and then I shake it all up and get it all stirred up, and then that's what I feed. I typically feed this just about every single tank except for the shrimp tank, and I don't typically put too much in the mystery snail tank. All right, so that's the mixtures. Just to give you guys kind of an idea. Let's feed these guppies right here. Watch these guys. Absolutely love this stuff. Tear this stuff up. On a daily basis, there are some frozen foods that I use. There's 3 different ones that I use. They're all Hikari brand. The first one is just regular brine shrimp. The next one is brine shrimp, but that also has spirulina in it. And then the last one that I use is frozen bloodworms. These are the ones that I use for almost all the tanks that have cories in it, and also for the angelfish and for any of the betas that I have. Okay, so typically what I do is I take, each day I take 4 of these little, red solo cups, fill each one of them with water, and then in 1 cup I take 2 of the brine shrimp and 1 of the spirulina brine shrimp. So that means I use 3 of these total and 6 of the other ones total. Melt those down, feed all the tanks. And then on this one, the bloodworms, I take 3 of these at a time and melt those down. Okay, next thing that we feed is we use a lot of rapashi. Okay, so we've got different types of rapashi. This is just the Community Plus. I've got this one, which is the morning wood, that's typically for Plecos that like to gnaw on different types of driftwood. This is the bottom scratcher. This is another Plecos one. And then this is the Soylent Green. So I just kind of mix these, not mix them, but I use different ones every few days. If you've never used this stuff before, I'll give you an idea. You have to take it and you have to mix it with water, hot water, and then you put it in the refrigerator and it turns into like a gel base. So let's see if we can open this. And it ends up looking like this stuff. So you got to take a knife and kind of cut it apart, and then it ends up looking like this. But that's what all 4 of these are. This is actually the community stuff. Some of my guppies really don't like this stuff that much. I'm not really sure. But this stuff's kind of cool because if you want to, you could take like a piece of driftwood, like that piece of driftwood, or you could take maybe one of these clay pots here, and you can take this stuff when it's still in liquid form, and you can coat it on that, and then it'll form this gel, and then you can just put that back in the tank, and the Plecostomus will just suck all over that thing to get this stuff off. So let's see where we're gonna put this at. So we'll put this in this tank with all, you can see all these guppies that are in here. Kind of got to knock it to the bottom. And if you notice, when stuff goes down, they kind of just ignore it. And then usually after a few minutes, 1 or 2 of them will go in there and start picking on it, and then they'll all realize, hey, this must be something good. And so they go down there and they all start picking on it eventually. Okay, so that's all the rapashi that we use, and then we use some dried bloodworms. I've got a few betas, and they really like this stuff, and I've also got some angelfish, and so I feed them frozen bloodworms also. But this is kind of, I supplement that to them every once in a while. Here's one. This guy's got so much duckweed. Whoop. We poured way too much of that in there. And again, so this is the Hikari bloodworms. So another one that I like to use is the bug bites, the Pleco formula. This stuff kind of comes in, you know, like little sticks. These I typically feed, you know, to the ones like you'll see back there. There's a snowball Plecostomus in there. There's also some leopard Plecos that love to stay hidden. So that's typically, you know, I just dump those in there, and of course all the other fish like to hit them too, but everyone seems to really like that stuff. Next thing, let's see, this right here, this is some high-end food. I originally bought this for some discus that I have that I no longer have, and so I typically will take this and feed this to my angelfish. They love this stuff. So it's kind of a soft-based type food. And I know you're wondering, you're like, Jason, why do you have these 2 big angelfish in a 10-gallon tank? Well, these are my breeding angelfish, and these guys were in the tank that crashed, so I had to move them out. So I think that was this tank, but I redid this entire tank, so I think they're just about ready to move back in as soon as I get a top for that tank. So you guys can watch. I kind of just shred these things up, and these guys love this food. Okay, next we've got some omega-1. These are some shrimp pellets. These are just some things that I put in there every once in a while for the cory cats. They love that stuff. When it comes to feeding some of the smaller babies, like when I have the Starabi cory babies, I mix it up. Some of the baby guppy babies I have this aquarium co-op. This is some of their small fish fry food. This stuff's real easy. You just kind of take it and pour it and just kind of you're just pushing it out with air, so it's real easy to feed from this container. It's not liquid, it's just all in powder form. So I use that. I also use these are vinegar eels, so I'll siphon some of this stuff off and get the vinegar eels out of there to feed them. Those are really small. And then also in here I have this is a container that I have. As you can see, it's like starting to mold. I need to change this out. These are micro worms, and I feed these guys a lot also. The micro worms are just kind of mixed with potatoes. Like here's some that are over here. And so it's just mixed with mashed potatoes. So I just kind of dab my finger in there like that. And then, how about these guys? And then just kind of let it go like that. And then the fish love the potatoes too, so they not only eat the microworms, but they also eat the potatoes. So that is what I feed the babies. One of the other things that I feed the tanks, especially, that is mainly for the snails, but all the other fish love it, that is this is the tank jello, or some people call it snail jello, but I kind of concoct it so everything can eat on it. And so this stuff is like a gelatin base. I'll try to remember to link this video above if you guys are interested in this. This stuff is just as you can see, it just kind of pulls out of there like that. This stuff has a tremendous amount of calcium in it, and so this tank right here, this is my grow out tank for my mystery snails and also for my bristlenose plecostomus. So I like to keep these in here almost on a daily basis. So, you know, you could just throw the whole thing in here, or sometimes I'll just kind of, you know, squish it off and break it into pieces so that it kind of gets all over the tank. This stuff will not, with all these mystery snails in here, this stuff will not last very long at all. They'll eat that stuff up. And then this is the this is where I have a bunch of big mystery snails. I'll also put some of that stuff in there also. Again, this is the main supplement they get so that they get all the calcium they need to build up their shells. But again, I'll put some of this stuff sometimes in each of the other tanks because the other fish like to eat it also. But I typically, on most of my tanks, especially like the 10 gallons, there's only 1 or 2 mystery snails per tank, because these things eat a tremendous amount, and if you don't keep them fed, you will kill them. Okay, so now let's talk about the thing that I feed the most of, and that is green beans, French style green beans. This I can feed to just about any tank. Most all the fish will eat this or pick at this. The shrimp love it. Again, I typically put about 1 or 2 green beans into each one of my shrimp tanks about every couple of days. But I will go through, I usually go through a can of this about every 2 days. That's about how often I feed it. And so, like, let's see if we can get this guy. Like, let's grab some green beans out of here. I've got a feather fin catfish that absolutely loves green beans. You can see him kind of hiding right now, but he hears whenever I open up. He can't resist coming out when the green beans are out. He loves him some green beans. If I can get you out of the glare. He will eat those green beans up. But again, we come over here to this tank where I'm growing out these mystery snails, and I will pretty much dump almost an entire thing of green beans in here. But the plecostomus absolutely love this stuff. As you can see, it doesn't take very long for these guys to get on it and start eating this stuff like crazy. All right, there you have it. That is what Jason is feeding 60 aquariums in his fish room. A big, giant mix of a lot of different stuff. You guys got any questions, be sure and leave them down below. You got any comments, leave those down below. Also, I'd love to communicate with you guys. Or if you guys just want to put something down there just to see your name in lights, well, you just put your name down there. Thanks again, guys, and God bless.